Today we have Sarah Darling, who is a country crossover pop artist and a little bit of jazz and blues in her music videos. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's great to chat with you.
You told me briefly that you're in England right now. Do you have family over there?
I am. I do. So my husband is British, and this is actually my second Christmas season spending it over across the pond, and it's I'm having a really great time. So we're on different time zones, but it's fantastic.
So you've got a new album that's coming out, and I believe it's around the 27th of the month. And I saw a little teaser of your music video of Halley's Comet. That was so cool. The little cartoon anime that you created. How did you guys come up with that concept?
Thank you so much. Yeah, so I'm really excited. Haley's Comet is it's one of those tracks that I actually wrote most of the songs on the album, but that one's quite personal to just the last few years of my musical journey, and it was such a special song, and I knew I wanted it to be the first single. That it was quite funny. I had always imagined an animation for the song. It's one of those, lyrically, it's just so beautiful and relates to everyone who's ever had a dream, and I think when you have the animation, it kind of, it and not only it's for kids, but it's also for adults. It's sort of this amazing story of a girl who's had a dream her entire life, and it's just me, in the story, which is quite sweet.
I listened to your track, You Can Take Me All the Way. It kind of actually has a little bit of a Nina Simone vibe to it with country to it. What's the story behind
So
that?
cool. I well, the last I guess the last few years, I've been working on the Dream Country album, and what was quite cool is that this is the first time I've released an album independently. So it was sort of my chance to be able to experiment a little bit. And I've always loved, I actually am a big fan of Nina Simone, now that you mention it. So, it was just me being able to try some things musically. And it's funny when you're, introducing me, like, saying it's jazz, it's country, it's all of these things. And I'm really kind of all these things mixed together. And that was the first song that, when people hear it, it's like, oh, I'm immediately, it has this jazz feel to it, which I'm really excited to release.
Well, I actually was sifting through YouTube, and I came across one that you nailed, girl. I mean, you nailed it. And that
Thank
was,
you.
you don't know which song yet, though. It's the
I do.
YouTube, With or Without You. I actually found a track from Japan on it that was like a full production and everything on it. It sounded great.
Oh, thank you so much. That's one of my favorite songs of all time. And it's funny when you do a cover, because if you're going to do it, you need to make it different or make it uniquely you. And I just, I'm really thankful that people love it, because it's a song that, when I hear it, immediately I'm taken to a place. And I think that song represents that for a lot of people, actually. It's a wonderful song.
As I was listening to it, I'm like, it's kind of like Linkin Park went back and did Adele's "Rolling in the Deep," but it became their song,
Yeah.
and you made it your own.
I'll have to check that out. I haven't heard that one yet. I'm going to check that out.
And by the way, congratulations on selling 500,000 downloads. That's tough
Thank
in these days
you.
of record sales.
You know what? And I would say that it's been one of those careers that I've been so fortunate to release a couple commercial country records, and this one coming up. I think I've had such an amazing journey, and I feel really grateful. I've actually been in the music business, and have actually sold that many downloads, which is great, because my fans are wonderful. And yeah, it's incredible, especially when you hear it back. It's hard to believe, actually, but wonderful at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, when a lot of artists are only selling 10,000 copies of a single a week, that's very impressive. You're definitely on the fast track to superstardom with two number one videos on CMT. What was your thoughts when you saw your first video on CMT?
Oh my goodness! The very first time I saw the video, I think I had dreamed about it ever since I was a little kid, and then when I actually saw it, it was an amazing experience. Just sort of this, the first times are quite important. And when I saw my first video and played the Opry for the first time, those memories really stick in my mind of, and I'm always reminded of those, as my career goes further. It's like those firsts you never get those back, and they're just really sweet memories in my mind of, of being able to do this and living out my dream.
You said that you're now on an independent label. Were you on a major label before, or how did everything turn about? Because the new wave seems to be that artists want to own everything and not give it to a record company.
So I was actually in an indie label in Nashville, and I was signed there for about 7 years. And I came to this point where creatively I was really wanting to do something a little bit outside of the box. And we amicably said, hey, I would like to go do something else. So I made Dream Country completely on my own. I did a pledge campaign, which was quite cool. So my friends and my fans helped sort of support me making Dream Country, which is so funny because I'm more attached to this album than any piece of music I've ever done, because I've been a part of every process of that, the writing, the production, the picking the producer, all those things, and just making it so much of it. Really, I feel like it's quite defining of of what I've really wanted to share with people.
What advice would you give to some young people coming up in the business to go the indie route, or try to do self sales themselves? What do you think is the best route to start out at?
I think, the best answer to that question is just really to be yourself. I think if you can be yourself and have, a label deal and they're like letting you be, this creative person that you want to be, I think then it's wonderful. But I think the key is being yourself. And, at this particular point in my life, I feel like I've gotten to be myself on Dream Country, which is really exciting. It was really exciting because it releases, the full-length release is February 10th, but Halley's Comet will release January 27th, and I'm just really excited, to kind of put this art out into the world, and I think the answer really is just, make sure you be yourself first and foremost, whatever situation that's allowing you to do that.
You said that you write most of your music. What's your process that you go through to putting a song together?
Oh goodness, it's so different every time. I think really I'm more of a melodic person, so I always get these ideas at the most inopportune times, whether I'm driving or do it on a walk or something, and I just sort of kind of like store them in my mind, and once I get to my guitar, then I make these little notes in my iPhone, and and then I tend to co-write quite a bit in Nashville. That's very much a Nashville style of writing, and so I usually get together with some of my best friends who write, and I would say my favorite songs I've written, I've had the ideas for a couple weeks. They've been like stirring around in my head before writing them.
So you grew up in a small town, Iowa. I actually worked in radio many years ago, KMGK and KIOA.
Oh yeah, KIOA, yeah.
And it was so cold there. All I remember was 32 below zero.
I do not miss the cold. It does get very cold there. It does.
Where are you living now?
I live in Nashville. I love Nashville. I've been there for about 13 years now, and it's just an amazing city with so much energy, writers, and it's just given me so much opportunity. And of course, I go back to Iowa quite a bit. Not so much in the winter, but I think it's. But what I would say is that I love the people in Iowa. That sort of Midwest small town feel is something I always go back to. And I actually write about it quite a bit on my brand new record as well.
On the new album, what kind of mixes? Is it going to be a mixture of pop, country, jazz, or is it going to be pretty much country?
It's funny. I would say that You Take Me All the Way is probably the most jazz feeling. It's really singer-songwriter meets country. and the reason I called it Dream Country is there actually there are a lot of songs that are written about dreaming and sort of this escapist feeling of wanting to go on a journey. There's a little bit of wanderlust and travel, and I think you kind of are sent off to a dream space. And so it's not your typical country subjects that people write on today's commercial country radio. So that's why I called it Dream Country. And I think it's a little bit of Joni Mitchell meets Alison Krauss, meets Nora Jones, somewhere in that world, I think.
And as a kid, what did you listen to? Pop country?
I actually grew up. I listened to Patsy Cline as a kid, and then I started listening to Stevie Nicks and Joni Mitchell and the Eagles, and then it's actually when Shania Twain came out that I really fell in love with country music, and I just said, this is what I want to do. There's just something so innovative about her, and I just loved what she was doing.
Well, it also could have been maybe Mutt Lange, a rock producer with country.
Exactly right. I think he was brilliant. Yeah, he's brilliant.
Well, I see that you've worked on the road with Carrie Underwood a little bit. Did you ever have any desire to go on American Idol?
I for some reason I never had the desire to go on American Idol, and I think it was always because I've never considered myself a belter singer, and whenever I watched the show, I was like, oh my God, all these people are belters. And I think the thing that probably makes my voice the most unique is the one thing that I don't ever see or hear on the show. So I always like watching it, and I love supporting it. But I think for me, I've never wanted to do it, which is quite interesting, I guess.
As far as the social media, how do you feel about social media? Are you active in it on a daily basis?
I am. I'm very active on social media. I think what's amazing about it is, I actually had a show last night in London, and the power of social media and being able to thank fans for coming out to the show and then having them share photos and videos. It's actually a really neat experience, and I think if you are an actor or a musician, it's sort of our direct line with our fans, and they're the reason we get to do this. So I feel like I think as an artist, we're navigating how to make the most out of it. But I think it's really just about being real and being yourself and like honest with your fans, which is a really cool thing to be able to do.
Do you have any plans to go out on the road this year?
2017 is going to be great. I'll be touring the U.S., doing an album tour in March and April, but also heading to the U.K. as well. Country music's been doing great over here as well, so it's been a lot of doors opening both in the U.S. and U.K.
Wow, I would not have thought country had made a mark there in the UK.
I know, it's amazing. It's really it's been something that has been really fascinating to watch. But yeah, country is buzzing over here at the moment.
Appreciate the phone call and the interview, and best of luck in 2017.
Thank you so much. It's nice to chat with you, and I will talk to you soon. Happy New Year.